Hello, welcome to this webinar on Patent Agent Examination 2023 and Overview. In this webinar, we will talk about what a patent agent is, who a patent agent is, and what is the scope of this professional qualification, as well as its benefits. We will also talk about the Patent Agent Examination 2023, which is to be held this year in May. And we will share some information and modalities to apply. Then we will talk about the exam format and the qualifying criteria and the syllabus. And finally, we will wind up with the tips and tricks to prepare for the examination and also give you an idea of the important topics to prepare for. Now, who a patent agent is? A patent agent is a government licensed professional or a practitioner who is authorized by the government to advise, to file, and to prosecute patent applications at the Indian Patent Office. The name of the person is entered in the Register of Patent Agents, which is maintained at the Indian Patent Office. Now, this is a techno-legal profession which sits at the interface of science and law. And when I say that mainly these patent agents, their background is in science, but they also have an understanding of the law involving intellectual property, particularly patents. Now, why do we need patent agents? And there are not many people who really know about this professional qualification. But it's important that our youth understand the different streams which are available to them. And one of the streams for the science or technology graduates is to become a patent agent and help in protecting the intellectual property, especially inventions which come out of R&D. So at the moment, India is short of patent facilitators. If we consider the number of applications which were filed at the Indian Patent Office last year, it ranged. In the figure was somewhere around 60,000 applications. And when I'm talking about this, I'm only including the domestic applications and not really the international applications which were filed, which would have made it this figure much more. Now, if we look at in terms of technical innovations, where does India stand? India was actually ranked 40th in the Global Innovation Index in 2022 by WIPO. And we are seeing that, with the whole startup ecosystem booming, there is the whole economy is being driven by technology. And we have seen a lot of things added on to our life, which are mainly technology-driven inventions. Now, what are the benefits of this qualification? It is a professional qualification. That is, you can either be self-employed or you can work in an organization, either government or a private organization, a corporate. And there are multiple employment opportunities associated with it, both in R&D organizations in corporates as well as government R&D. One can also get a job in legal firms, in KPOs, LPOs, but also in higher educational institutions because we are seeing a lot of inventions coming from youth, that is from schools, from colleges, and from educational institutions like IITs. There is also a need for patent agents to facilitate at the startup incubators, where the entrepreneurs who develop technologies are being incubated. There is a need for people to facilitate protection of their intellectual property that is generated. So we see that there are a lot of opportunities for people to find employment in any of these places. But more importantly, what it does is it enables self-reliance or self-employment, and people who qualify this examination can be independent consultants they don't really have to be working at any organization. They can be self-employed. And one of the schemes which the government has introduced is the SIP facilitator scheme. SIP stands for Startup Intellectual Property Protection. And in this scheme, the patent agents can register themselves as facilitators. And how it works is that the government pays the fee for filing the patent application and its prosecution, as well as the patent agent service charge. And this is mainly done to help the startups, startup industry, so that they are able to protect their inventions. So that is so you would have figured out that this profession has a number of opportunities in terms of employment or doing things on their own. Now I'll talk a bit about the patent agent examination, which is going to be held in May 2023. The date is 7th of May, and you can find the official notification in the IPO website, which is www.ipindia.gov.in. And the last day to apply for this is 31st of January. And there are no, offline applications accepted. It is only online applications through the portal. And one of the things which has happened this year is that many more centers, examination centers, have been included. In the previous years, it used to be only the main 5 regional offices of patent at the IPO. But this year, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Lucknow, etc. have also been included. The fee for this examination is 1,600 and it has to be paid online. The documents required are proof of age, so you can submit your Aadhaar card or your 10th standard certificate. Then proof of citizenship, so either your voter's ID or your passport can be submitted. Then the degree certificate, that is your undergraduate degree certificate. And scanned color photograph, scanned signatures. So what I suggest is that you go and check the specifics in the guidelines which are given in the portal, because there are certain specific suggestions on, say for example, black ink has to be used for the signature. And there are some file size limitations for each of these documentation. So you need to go and check it in the guideline and then start applying. I will show you how you can do that. You can see this website. This is the official website of Intellectual Property Office, Government of India, ipindia.gov.in. And here on the home page, you can see on the left hand side all the notifications which have come out. And in this particular one, you can also see there is a notification which had come out about the examination. So public notice, trademark agent examination and patent agent examination. Both the examinations are going to be held one day apart, that is on 6th and 7th. And this notification carries information about the examination, the date, and who's eligible to apply, etc. So go and check out this notification. To come back to the home page, you can also see there are these tabs on the right hand side, the blue colored tabs on the right hand side. And the first tab, which says registration for patent or trademark agent examination 2023, you can go and click on that tab and it will ask you to proceed to an external website. If you say yes, it will take you to this particular page. Okay, now here what you need to do is you need to sign in and create an account for yourself, and then you can register as a new applicant. But before you do that, I strongly suggest that you read these two things. One is the guideline for filling the application, and the other one is a user manual for application filing. So it is important that you read both of these things before you start your application. Yeah. Now, who is eligible to apply? Anyone who is more than 21 years of age is eligible to apply, and there is no upper age limit for this. Okay, anybody can apply at any age. Undergraduate degree in science, engineering, or technology is required. So people who are in their final year of graduation can also apply for this. And if the requirement is that your undergraduate degree should be in any of these disciplines, that is science, technology, or engineering. So you can be you could have done a BSc, a BE, or a BTech, etc. And even if you have done your post graduation in some other subject area or domain like law, etc., that is also fine. But you should have an undergraduate degree in science or technology or engineering. And of course, you need to be a citizen of India. Now, coming to the examination format, the exam which will be held on 7th of May, it will be a written examination, and it will be conducted in two shifts. One will be paper one, which is 2 hours and 100 marks. Okay. It is an objective type question paper which will have multiple choice question. Both it will either have one answer as the correct answer or more than one answer as a correct answer. And what this paper is kind of focused on is to understand whether you understand the concepts or not. So it is the conceptual understanding which is being tested in this paper. The pass marks for this is 50%. So if you get 50 out of 100, you will qualify this particular paper. But there is a catch, and I will tell you about it a little later. The paper 2 is conducted on the same day, but in the afternoon of the same day. And this is a 3 hours paper of 100 marks again. And it's a written exam of a descriptive type of exam, which has two portions to it. One is focused on situation based questions where the examiners are trying to understand whether you can interpret the act in hypothetical or real life situations or not. And the second part pertains to patent drafting. So when I say patent drafting, it is drafting of a patent for filing an application, whether you can do it or not. And different types of questions are asked in it, sometimes to draft the title of the patent, to draft the abstract of the patent, as well as a long answer type questions, which generally are to draft the specification or the claims for a patent. Now, here again, the pass marks is 50%. But the catch is that together, that is cumulative, in paper 1 and paper 2, you should have got 60% marks. So if you score 50 in paper 1 and you scored 50 in paper 2, you individually pass those papers, but you would not still qualify for Viva. Okay. So to qualify for Viva, you need 60% marks, that is 120 marks out of 200 in these two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. So those who get 120 on 200 or more than that will be eligible for Viva, and they will be called for Viva. Normally it takes around 2 months for the results to come out. And once the results have come out, you get around 15 days to prepare for the Viva. Yeah. So the final part of this is Viva, where it is of 50 marks, but there is no time limit given. It can be as short as 5 minutes, or it can be as long as 45 minutes. It entirely depends on the panel who's taking your Viva. Now, the panel which takes the Viva normally comprises of the controller or examiners from the patent office. And what they, though what they ask entirely depends on them, the panel, but mostly from what I'm talking about is from my own experience as well as what I have heard from my colleagues, that they mainly try to understand whether you have a good hold, a good strong understanding of the concepts and principles of the Patent Act, whether you know how to file and process, the filing and prosecution process or not, And these questions are generally aligned to your background. So if you are from a engineering background, say computer science, so they will try to ask you questions from that particular domain. Or if you are a biotechnologist, from the biotechnology domain. But in addition to this, what you also need to keep in mind that the questions can go anywhere. So it can also be, like I was asked some statistics about how many applications did India file, how many PCT applications did India file, and which is a country which is topmost in terms of innovation index and those kind of things. So it's basically to test your overall understanding of this area. And again, there is no pass marks in this. There is no minimum pass marks, but paper 1 and 2 along with Viva, all three together, you should have scored 150 marks out of 250. Okay. And another thing to note is that, there is no ranking in this. So it's not that, first 50 people qualify. It's not like that. Anybody who gets more than 150 in out of 250 will qualify and can become a patent agent, provided they also um, meet the other criteria which are given. Now, what is the syllabus for the examination? The syllabus is the Patent Act, which is the 1970 Patents Act, as amended till date. The last amendment for the Act was done in 2017, and the Patent Rules 2003 as amended until now. The last amendment happened in 2021, but before the exam, if another amendment happens, that will also be included. So these two are the basic things which you need to know, you must know. That is the Patents Act and the Patents Rule. Okay. Then in addition to these two, you also need to have an understanding of the patent practice and procedure as done in the Patent Office. So the Manual of Patent Practice and Procedure as amended until 2019, you need to refer to that. Along with this, there are certain guidelines for individuals, domain-specific guidelines which are given for computer-related inventions, for traditional knowledge and biological material, for pharmaceutical inventions, for biotechnology inventions, etc. You need to have a good understanding of those things also, because they supplement your understanding about the Act and the rules. So these four things are your reference material for the syllabus, to cover the syllabus in entirety. Now, all these documents that I mentioned, the four, the Patents Act, the rule, the manual, and the guidelines, are all available in soft copy in the IPO website. And I'll show you in a while where you can find it. But you could also buy a BEAR Act, a latest BEAR Act, which has all the amendments. You can keep it as a reference material, because what it does is that in a BEAR Act, you will find everything together in one place. All the amendments which have happened to the Act and all the amendments which have happened to the rules, everything will be in one place, and there will be some explanation also given in footnotes. So that's a good reference for you. Now, I'll go and show you where you can find these resources in the IPO website. This is the home page. Okay. And if you go in the home page, you will find a tab called resources. If you go here and click on the Act and Rules, it will take you to this page. And you will see here that, acts and rules, manual and guideline for all the different types of intellectual property, that is patent, trademark, design, geographical indicator, copyright, etc. Everything you can find here. So you can go and click on the Patents Act and look for the latest amendment. There are many documents here, but you should look for the latest amendment. Now this one, which is 2017, contains all the amendments, so you can go and have a look at this. Similarly, you can go and have a look at the patent rules. Okay. Now patent rules, again, the latest one, which is 2021. So you can find all the amendments here, 2020, 2019, 2017, etc. So you can go and have a look at all of them. Similarly, the manual, there is a manual, and there are guidelines. I'll just show you the guidelines. Okay. So if you go to the guidelines, you will see the revised guideline for examination of computer related inventions. Then there is something for traditional knowledge and biological material. Then there is something for pharmaceuticals. So go and refer to these things. That was all about the syllabus. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, what to expect in the examination. So this is not an easy exam. Actually, it is quite a difficult exam, and it requires minimum of 3 to 4 months of regular study. Okay, regular study means, you need to study every day, and your concepts should be really clear. So the reference material, as I said, the act rules, the manual and the guidelines is what you need to refer to. You don't really have to go in and look for any other book or anything of that sort. If you have these four and you have read them thoroughly, that is more than enough to prepare for the exam. Now, also, if you are new to this field, suppose if you have not really worked in an R&D organization, or you're a fresher, you're a student, I would advise that you join a training, or you find a practitioner who can help you decode the act and the rules, because this act is actually written in a little technical language, the legal language, and which is not easy for us scientists to understand. So you find a mentor or a guide who can help you decode that, the legal language in the act and rules. You could also refer to some of the videos which are available on the internet. The next point is, even if you are studying solo, you should try and discuss in peer groups so that you have a good conceptual understanding and how these concepts are applied. You must know those things. So when we discuss in groups, there is, you understand much better. And in this exam, everybody can qualify, so there is not really any competition as such. Everybody who gets more than 150 marks will qualify for the examination. And you could solve previous year's question papers, which are again available in the IPO website, both for paper 1 and paper 2. Both questions are available, question papers are available, and there is a key also given for paper 1. So when you read a concept and understand it, you can always go and try to answer those MCQ questions in paper 1 related to that particular concept. Another thing that you start doing now itself is start reading patents regularly. Okay, now patents could be from different domains. They can be mechanical, from biotechnology, from pharma, etc. Different domains. So I suggest that you start reading for your own domain at first, and then you move on to reading patents of different domains. At least try to read 5 patents a week, so that you are able to cover all the different domains before the examination. And when you start reading it, you will realize that the structure or the parts of the patent are the same in any of the domains. So you will start getting a hang of how these are written. And whichever domain it is of, there will be some kind of similarities in terms of how they are written. And finally, you should start practicing patent drafting on your own. Once you understand, what are the different parts of the patent, how to write the specification, how to write the claims, how many words should the abstract be, etc., then you can go and start practicing drafting on your own. Now, as I said before, the first thing you need to do is you start try to understand the concept. Don't go and start reading the act or the rules from the beginning if you are not working already in a patent related organization, or you're not into IP protection area. So don't go and start reading from the act section by section. Try to understand the basic principles, the basic concepts which are important in patent law. Okay, say for example, novelty, non-obviousness, utility, eligible subject matter. Those are the kind of things which you need to understand first. So once you have read the concepts, you can move on to start reading the act in parallel to the concept. So say for example, novelty. So if you have read the concept, you understand what is meant by novelty, then you can go in the act and refer to that particular section which talks about novelty and how it is assessed, etc. So that you now are aware of not only the concept but exactly what is said in the law about it. Okay, the Patent Act. In addition to these two, you should also know the relevant case studies associated with those principles. Okay, so what the case study does is that it helps you understand the concept in terms of its application, how it is applied. Hmm? So it will again strengthen your understanding of the concept. Now, other than this, other than the concept, what you need to have a thorough understanding of is the process flow and timeline for a application, right from filing stage till it is granted. You know, the different stages of prosecution, how the entire process flows, and who files it, how is it examined, how long does it take, what are the forms involved in it, what fee is associated with it. So now you start reading when you understand the process flow. After that, you start reading the act and the rule in parallel, because the rule is the one which gives you more details of how these things are executed on the ground. It will talk about the timelines, it will talk about the form, it will talk about who can file, it will talk about the fees associated with it. And then again, in fees, for an individual there may be a different fee, for a startup it is different, for a corporate firm it is different. So you go and have a look at it and try to get a hang of how the entire thing flows in the patent office, the process flow, once you have filed the application till it is granted. And try to do this multiple times. It's not enough that you have read everything once. It won't stay. So you have to do this entire cycle multiple times so that you get a good hang of things. And try to make a table for your ready reference. Which what is the what is the office procedure? What is the section from the act associated with it? Which rule applies? What are the timelines? And again, the form, fee, etc. So make a table for your reference. Now, in terms of tricks, you should know that the paper one is objective type paper. So it's a very high scoring paper. There are people who have scored more than 90 marks in this paper out of 100. So try to score the maximum marks here. Also, the good thing about this is there is no negative marking in it. So, but there's just one catch, that the MCQs, which have multiple correct answers, suppose there are three correct answers and you have chosen only two and you forgot to choose the third one, then you don't get any marks, you lose marks there. Yeah. So you have to be a little careful about that. But it is a high scoring paper. You must try to score more than 80% marks here so that you are at a good place cumulatively between the two papers. And as I said before, this is more about the conceptual understanding. So have your concepts clear. You should have a very robust understanding of the concepts and how they are applied. Now, paper 2 is quite a difficult paper. And it is a descriptive type, the written paper of 3 hours. But believe me, 3 hours is not enough to do that paper because it's a really long paper. And therefore, the trick here is to manage time. Okay, you must attempt all questions and you must finish them within the 3 hours. So what you need to do is that, depending on the marks, if a question is 3 marks or 5 marks, don't start writing 5 pages for it. Okay, you will simply be wasting time, and you cannot get more than 5 or 3 marks, whatever pertains to it. Okay, but what it will do is that because you spend five pages writing 5 pages a time there, you will not be able to attempt a 20-mark question later on. So you try to manage your time. It is not important that you have to go sequentially in answering the question paper. If you want to do the drafting part first, you do that, so that you have covered all the high marks questions like 20 marks, 15 marks, and all first. But remember one thing, that if you leave a question, it is very difficult to pass in this paper. Okay, to get 50 marks is minimum, but try to score as much as you can, and then try to compensate with your paper one, because together you do need 120 marks, and together along with viva you need 150 marks. So try to score the highest in paper one as much as possible, more than 90, more than 80 if possible. And in paper two, you must pass, that is, you must attempt all the questions, so that minimum you get 50, but try to get more than that. Now, the key to this passing paper two, or key to really doing well in this, is to read and draft patterns. You should practice to draft the patents. Try to understand the structure of patent. What are the different parts in it? What are the word limits prescribed for it? How a claim should start? What is a dependent claim? What is an independent claim? Those kind of things. How the drawings are marked in the text. What are the different different ways in which a sentence can start, what all to include in the background. Those kind of things you must know properly. And another thing, be very careful that when you are writing an answer, and you know a section number from the act, or you know the rule number, definitely you must mention, because that will fetch you a lot more, it will have a lot more weightage. But if you don't know the correct number, don't try to guess it. It is better not to write the number, just write the principle, than going wrong and writing a wrong section number, because you will be marked, the examiner won't be happy with is seeing that. Yeah. And finally, coming to the Viva, here again, the focus is on understanding of the concepts and their application, and the prosecution. Whether if you become a patent agent, would you know how to file a patent application, or do you know the process? Do you understand the different terminologies or not? And are you aware of the form fee? And also, many a times, some of the controllers and examiners, they love to ask which form is um, used, what is the fee for this, etc. But alongside this, you should also have general awareness on all patent related matters, and what is happening in the Indian scenario, what is happening in the international scenario, and how different, if you come from a specific background, say biotechnology or microbiology or computers, software, you should understand what are the nuances for that particular field of application. These are some of the important concepts which you must know. And this is like a gist of what you must know to pass this exam. So there are select definitions in section number 2, both in the Act as well as rules. So as I said before, the novelty, the inventive step or invention, etc., as well as things like what is the definition of a startup, for example. Those things you must know. Then the patentability requirements and patentable subject matter, section 3 and 4 from the Act, is very, very important. This is the whole foundation of the Patent Act. Patent law is entirely based on the patentability requirements, which includes novelty, utility, non-obviousness, and eligibility of the subject matter to be patented. In addition to this, you also should know the concept of priority and what are the situations in which it can be anticipated. Again, as I said, patent filing and prosecution process, both for domestic as well as international applications, that is for convention and the PCT application. And alongside that, the timelines, form, and fee for each of them. Then the concept of patent of addition. What is divisional patent? Pre and post grant opposition. Who can apply for pre grant opposition? Who can apply for post grant opposition? What are the situations in which these can be opposed? A patent can be opposed under in these two different phases of prosecution. You should know that. Uh, Patent amendment. At what stages can the patent be amended? Who has the power to amend? What are the controllers' power, etc. Those things you should know. Then another important concept is revocation of patent. Under what situation a patent can be revoked? What is invalidity? Those things. Then compulsory licensing. So compulsory licensing has become an important topic now, especially with the advent of COVID. People have become much more aware of compulsory licensing. So you should know under which all situations compulsory licensing is possible. Okay. Then there is a concept called Budapest Treaty, or deposition of biological material. Earlier it was only for microbial material, but now it is open to all biological material. So you should know what is Budapest Treaty, and how many centers we have in India for deposition of microbes. Those kind of things you should know. There is also this National Biodiversity Authority, and people filing biological patents need an approval from the NBA, National Biodiversity Authority, if you are using any material of Indian origin in that. So have an understanding of what this is all about and how to apply for it, how to get an approval. Other than all of this, the concepts, etc., you need to know the landmark judgments or important case studies, because in paper 1, some of the questions are based on these case studies. In paper 2, also some situational or the hypothetical case studies are based on these landmark cases. So here I have just mentioned a couple of them, Novartis or Monsanto case or Ericsson case, but there are many more of them, and you should go and have a look at it. Okay. Now, in summary, if you know these things, a few things which I already spoke about, that is the concept, if you know their application and how case studies have applied that, as well as you know the patent structure and how to draft it, then half your battle is won. And in concepts, the patentability requirements and eligibility of subject matter are the important ones. Uh, Process flow is equally important, different stages of patent prosecution. And then how to write a patent, the specification, okay, structure and parts of the patent, and how to draft it. So all in all, if if you know these concepts thoroughly and you know how to draft a patent, you should be able to get through. Now here I'm going to talk about some training modules which are available with Codex Scholar. So there are a couple of modules. Module 1 is focused on paper 1 preparation, and here all the concepts will be revised along with filing and prosecution process flow, and there will be MCQ practice sessions for it. It will be of around 20 hours, and the dates are 1st Feb to 14th of March, 1.5 months course. Module 2, which will start on 15th of March and will be held until 30th April, will prepare you for paper 2. And basically, we will have experts talking about the patent structure and patent drafting for different domains. Now, we will also have situation-based question practice, and this will be of 20 plus hours, because it's 20 hours may not be enough to do this entire exercise of patent drafting from different domains. So we will have more than 20 hours. We'll see how much, between 20 and 30 hours it will be. Then module 3 is just practice sessions, that is mock test for paper 1 and 2 between 1st and 5th of May, just before the exam it will get over. And module 4 is for people who qualify for Viva, and it will be the dates will be decided after the results come out. And basically what we will do there is we will conduct mock interviews and have discussions on the concepts. These classes will be held. There are two options available. Either you can choose a weekend batch, which is evening, Saturday and Sunday for 2.5 hours, or you can choose a weekday class, which is held in the night between 8 to 9, and it is for all the 5 days in the week. If you want more information on this, please write to us at admin@codexscholar.com. Yeah, this is the contact email. So that is all from us, and we wish you good luck with your examination. Do reach out to us if you need any further information.